Good evening. In our news bulletin for this evening, the Niue Legislative Assembly are in deep discussions for the past 2 weeks regarding the Niue government budget for 2014 to 2015. Government is contemplating privatizing health services on the island. Reproductive health counsellors have been accredited after 2 weeks of training. Government's budget reveals that teachers can expect a pay increase this year. There have been lengthy discussions into the national budget for 2014 to 2015 as members of the Niue Legislative Assembly go into the finer details of projected expenditure and revenue for each of the ministries and departments. In-depth deliberation started on Monday last week, firstly with the central agencies with questions posed to the Minister, Toke Talangi. The Assembly approved the proposed expenditure for the Premier's Department, a total of $2,314,000 with a projected revenue of $2,000. For the Crown Law Office, expenditure for the next year will be $259,000 and no expected revenue. There was lengthy discussions regarding government's employing body, the Niue Public Service Commission and Secretariat, but their expenditure will be $1,119,000 and also no expected revenue. For the Treasury Department, their expenditure will be $1,370,000 with a projected revenue of $14,271,000. Discussions regarding the Niue Police Department also brought up a number of issues, but the Assembly agreed that the expenditure would be $494,000 and a projected revenue of $195,000. Yesterday's discussions continued on with the Ministry of Social Services that included some of the larger departments such as the Department of Education, the Health, Justice, Lands and Survey and Taonga Niue. For the Education Department, the combined expenditure for both schools and the administration area of the department amounted to $2,463,000 and revenue expected $4,000. As for the Health Department, estimates for the expenditure is $1,940,000 and a revenue of $44,000. Discussions regarding the Justice Lands and Survey as well as Taonga Niue were completed, but figures have yet to be finalized. The Assembly meeting continued on to the Ministry of Natural Resources, that includes the Department of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries, Environment and the Niue Meteorology Services. Honourable Billy Talangi is the Minister for that ministry, who was also on hand to answer questions raised by the members of the House. The budget meeting discussions are still ongoing, and we will bring you further information regarding the budget in our next news bulletin. Government is considering the possibility of privatizing health services on the island. Premier Toke Talangi made the statement while addressing the members of the Assembly during discussions into the Health Department budget this week. He said the government has considered the option of privatization for a while and has held preliminary discussions with various persons and countries to gauge potential interest and requirements. Premier Talangi gave assurances that the health workers would continue and that the free health care now available to all Niueans would continue. The mention of privatization was met by some hesitation by some members of the Assembly who were surprised to hear of this. They raised the need for careful consideration before government embarks on such a venture unless all factors have been considered. However, Premier Talangi says that the transformation program that the government has embarked on considers all options to help improve health services on the island. 15 participants from the education, health and civil society sectors are now accredited counsellors after being part of intensive training for reproductive health practitioners for the past 2 weeks. The Health Department training, facilitated by Empower Pacific, is part of a regional project to train counsellors to deal with reproductive health issues. Niue has had a shortage of counselling services with 2 certified counsellors on island, but these newly accredited counsellors will be an additional boost to the number of counsellors here in Niue. We caught up with the group as they concluded their training sessions today to find out about their thoughts on the workshop and what they have learned.
One of the things we've learned over the past 2 weeks is that as reproductive health practitioners, in comparison to the other counsellors, we can give advice. We we can provide awareness, education to our clients as opposed to the other counselors, the general counselors, and just knowing how to put aside your own personal views, your own morals, your own, how do you say it, what your own judgment, yeah, like your values, everything that we think is right. It does not necessarily mean that it's right to clients. Not everything that we follow, the clients follow. So there's been a lot of areas of development in the past week, and there is still more areas to improve on. And I think one of the learning aspects that I learned was the listening. Eventually we want to be able to have another counseling site out of the hospital so that people have access to them if they don't feel free to come and access us at the health department. And the great thing about this whole workshop is that it's not only for HIV or STI testing. All the skills that we've learned, we can also utilize it in NCD-related problems or just other problems in general.
Although the focus has been on sexual reproductive health issues and counselling needs, the skills acquired can also be used for general counselling. Participants said that the training has been valuable because it increases the number of skills that they have, especially in areas of professionalism and confidentiality. The challenge now will be to get people to access the services now available and to have accredited locations to deal with clients. Teaching is looking to be an attractive professional career pathway as government announces yet another pay increase. This latest pay increase will be the third pay increase since 2012, as in recognition of working 5 days a week, while other public servants work a 4-day work week. Premier Tokitalangi advised that this was to bring teachers' pay on par with other public servants that will be comparative to a level 80% closer to the average New Zealand pay. In addition, the new Public Service Commission has also been working to provide a separate pay scale for professional and technical skilled persons that has yet to be finalized and will be implemented when funds are available. That concludes our news bulletin for this evening, and don't forget to tune into Radio Sunshine as the new Legislative Assembly will continue with their meeting tomorrow morning. We'd also like to wish all those who will be competing in the Sevens Rugby Tournament on Saturday all the best. Do join us again for our next news bulletin next week.